Hey there, and welcome to Goddess Sue Knits. This week I've got a couple of new cast-ons, a couple of new finished objects, a new knitting activist project that I'm trying to start, and Stitch Corner for you. So stay tuned. First is some new cast-ons. Here you go. Alright, the first new project that I've recently started is, it's the doll from Knitted Icons, and I'm theoretically knitting Bob Marley, although right now all I have done is the basic body. So here's a couple of pictures. Okay, the Bob Marley doll is probably going to be a present for my little brother, who's always been a fan. And the next project I have to show you is also a present for my little brother, although this one is going to be either his next year's Christmas or birthday present. It's called the Voltaire Scarf, and it's kind of pretty. I don't have a whole lot of it done, just about the first inch or so, so here's a picture of that. Alright, and as a side note, I've decided to call that the Pretentious Scarf, because I always like to think that my brother is really pretentious. Alright, the next project I have to share with you that I recently started and got halfway through are the end paper mitts. It's a little snug, especially after I compared it with my friend Liz's, who knit the size smaller and hers fits me better. But it's cute, and so I'm going to plan on finishing the second one. The only problem I had was with the bind off, which was way too tight, so I'm slowly going to be picking it out and rebinding off. So here's a couple of pictures. Alright, the last thing I've cast on for recently and finished recently was a project for the Going Green swap on Ravelry. My partner is Sydney in Florida, and just in case she's found my blog, I'm not posting any pictures nor saying anything about it because I want it to be a surprise. But that's also what I've been spending some of my time on. So next up is recent finished objects, and then Swatch Corner. Stay tuned. Okay, this week I've only got two FOs to share with you. The first is the Fuchsia Felted Bowl from 101 Designer One Skein Knits or Wonders. And I didn't do the ruffly part because I wanted a plainer bowl, but I did the rest of it with Zitron yarn, and it turned out gorgeous, even though it was my least favorite part of the skein. The rest of it I think will be even prettier. And so here's a couple of pictures of that. And I think I have enough of that yarn to do one or two more at the least bowls from that. So I'm hoping to make a small collection. I think it should turn out well. And the next project that I've recently finished was something I was totally just playing with for fun, but it is a Space Invader filet crochet motif. It turned out much bigger than I originally anticipated, and it's a little busy. But it was kind of my test run for filet crochet, so I guess I learned a couple of useful tidbits for possibly working those designs in the future. So here you go. Okay, so that was my Space Invaders filet crochet, which I had a bunch of fun doing, even though Lizzie couldn't really tell the design. That's about all I've got from my recent FOs, and next up is Stitch Corner. But first, a note about a knitting activist project I'm trying to start, so stay tuned. Okay, before I get to Stitch Corner, I've got one more thing to share with you. I'm starting a knitting activist project called Hand Knits for Horizon. It's for knitting Afghans for the Indianapolis homeless population that will be donated to Horizon House and will be passed out accordingly. They are a day shelter that provides food and general laundry services and things, and job skills and such to the Indianapolis homeless population. And I wanted to talk a little bit about it before I got to my commercial, because I'm afraid it's going to be kind of funny and not serious enough to get my point across. So I wanted to talk that Indianapolis has a much larger homeless population than you've probably noticed. It's what's called a hidden homeless population, and I watched a documentary on it a couple of years ago, and there are lots of people in Indianapolis that for whatever reason don't have any shelter. And so I'm hoping that by starting this we can get some more blankets out to the people in need and pass on some of the heartfelt concern that we have for their well-being. So please stay tuned and watch my little commercial. It'll be before Stitch Corner, and I hope that if you live in or around Indianapolis, that perhaps you can make a contribution, and if you don't, maybe you could pass the word on to some of your friends that do live in and around Indianapolis. So here you go. Brr, I'm so cold out here. I really wish I had something to keep me warm. What's this? This isn't a blanket. This won't keep me warm in the cold Indiana weather. And finally, we've come to Stitch Corner, where this week I've got two new stitches to share with you. The first is baby fern little lace motif, and the second is woven basket stitch. They were both worked on US 7 needles with cotton in worsted weight, and I think they're both pretty spiffy. So here's a couple pictures and a couple more details. Okay, here I cast on 15 stitches in one color of worsted weight cotton on the US size 7 needles, and I did 3 repeats of the little baby fern lace. The lace part itself is only 9 stitches wide, and there are 3 border stitches between each panel. That's when it's pulled from the original pattern. There you go. And for the woven basket stitch, I cast on 20 stitches using one color of worsted weight cotton. This time it was a variegated. I used the US size 7 needles and did 20 rows. It's a simple 2-row repeat pattern knit flat and provides a really fun and unique texture. There you go. Well, I hope those new stitches have inspired you to create something new. So if you live in Indianapolis, you should check out my Ravelry page, because I'll be posting a project of sorts about hand knits for Horizon. And if you're interested in any other information about any of my projects or links to where I got the patterns, you should also check out my Ravelry page. And if you got any questions, send me a comment, and have a good couple of weeks, and I will try and get back to you as soon as possible and my work permit allows.